Hey, I'm setting up a quick tutorial that will help you all figure out how to minimize a lot of the stuff that's going on in Pearson as well as the Google Classroom. And by doing that, what I've actually started doing is setting up things in my library. So let me show you what it's going to look like. So instead of doing just one thing, this is, for example, with Romeo and Juliet, I have Act 5 supplemental material. So I can click on it and everything's in there. Now, it's already kind of gathered that way, but you have the option to do a few things. One, you can pick and choose what you want. I already set this up and I'll show you in a minute. Or you can assign all. So before I get too far into it all, let me just go back and kind of explain what it is I'm doing here. So for example, with what I want to do is I want to assign something. So I'm going to go back to my area here. I know that I'm looking in Unit 4. In Unit 4, I'm on my Wednesday work. And on Wednesdays, I've been having the students do their, basic grammar and syntax and everything else. And so to do that, you can go through and look, and there's a bunch of stuff everywhere. Well, here is the way that you guys can kind of eliminate some of the issues making it take forever. So once you've gone to the unit, you say, okay, let's do a little vocab and word studies. Word families might be good, but no, don't want to do that because I want to go back to parallelism, which is something that we reiterated in an earlier unit. So I want them to do some of these other things. Not today, we're going to do writing on Friday. So I've got 2 worksheets here that are word studies. And the other one we're going to look at is the craft and structure. All right, now I've got these 3 things. And so instead of them getting crazy, I can just do this. I create the playlist. And I'm not going to select, I'm going to create a new one, unless you want to add it to something. And so I'll call it Act 5, Grammar Study. I have to put the notes in here. All 3 these sheets are to be completed. And so now, those are the directions. I always copy and paste those because it'll come back up. I hit create playlist and it says, I want to go to it. Well, of course I do. So now I go there and I can edit the order of them, or I just select all and I hit assign all. All right, so I have Act 5 grammar study. Like I said, I've been assigning this on Wednesdays. The due date has been Sundays, and I can put the instructions down here. And then, of course, up top, we just add in the classes because it's pretty quickly. So you do that, and then you hit assign, and you're good to go. And it also will appear in Google Classroom. So for the sake of what it looks like, because that's a big buzz thing here these days, what's it going to look like? In the Google Classroom, if you went to, let me show you the difference here. If you go into my grade book, you'll note that here's my Act 5 supplemental stuff. This is just a bunch of stuff that they can read to help them get through Act 5. But none of it is actually anything that they will be graded on. So the other thing you'll note is that for last week, in week 10, it was here like this, and it wasn't there. So if you have the options to look at what we just did, so now when you go back to the stream, instead of seeing, if you look at other weeks when I've had, right here, here's a couple things I wanted them to work on, instead of seeing the stream with lots and lots of stuff all over the place, like this one, right? Because the example here is there's the selection test and a few other things, and they are all the same, essentially the same day. Well, now this is actually 5 activities all posted in one spot. So that will be much easier on the students. All right, y'all. I hope that makes sense. Kind of hope it helps.